MT Gox, ladies and gentlemen. If that doesn't ring a bell, it was regards to a hack that happened quite a while ago in Japan, where two Russians effectively wiped an exchange. So that's actually now come up out of the woodworks, and they've now got access to that crypto. And that cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically, has now been moved into a wallet. Now everybody wants to know what's going to happen with this wallet. And I'm going to be talking about what to be aware of if the outcome of them selling the Bitcoin is going to come into play. Moving on from that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be diving into what's going on in the stock market, starting to see a few things happening in the stock market that could actually impact the likeliness of price going down. We do have good news regarding Nvidia, talking about this 10-to-1 stock split. So that's going to make buying Nvidia a little bit more lucrative for people overseas. But more importantly, we are now going into a new way of transacting in the stock market. They have now reintroduced an old way of settling transactions in the stock market, and the SEC ain't too particularly happy about it. But let's get with the program, ladies and gentlemen. And if you are new to today's video, mad love and respect for passing through. My name is Tino. Welcome to Traders Reality. Let's have a conversation, man. So we get started off with what's going on in the stock market, as this is important for us. Now, traders are effectively waiting for the inflation data that is due to be released this week. If we go into the calendar, you can see that throughout the week we have consumer confidence coming out at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today. And then, of course, we've got the German preliminary consumer price index, which is then followed by, on Friday, the core price index month on month. The core price index is important. This is going to tell the Fed if they are going to cut the interest rates or not. If manufacturers are increasing the price of goods and services, then that's only going to give the Fed room to hold the interest rates and maybe not cut, which is why the stock market is somewhat a little bit mixed. There's no real clear direction up or down. Now, when it comes to the stock market, you can see that Nvidia is actually killing it right now. And of course, with this 10-to-1 stock split that they are trying to put out to investors, we've got to remember AI overall, this stock is up 1,080% in 4 years. And they're saying time in 4 years to buy now, according to Wall Street. Quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be a little bit reluctant to buy a stock, quite frankly, when it's trading at its all-time highs and it is suggesting that you should buy this stock at a premium of $1,064. Now, granted, Nvidia itself is a huge market cap stock. Don't get it twisted. It can move markets. And when I say it move markets, it can have an impact on the bigger marketplace overall. You can see right here, Nvidia, all-time highs. Average, look at the volume right there, or market cap, 2.6 trillion, 2,661 billion, and they are actually killing it fundamentally. They are a fantastic stock, and you can see down below on the right that we've had volume coming into play, which is showing accumulation in the stock. Now, I've been waiting for this data to be updated, and it is come into play, and they haven't actually updated. Down below, it says that the fund ownership is only at 7,348. I haven't seen it increase just yet, but maybe we're waiting for Investors Business Daily to update this. But it'll be very interesting to see down below if investors or fund managers are actually stepping in and picking up this Nvidia stock. Looking at the whole bigger picture of Nvidia, I would say that value is massive across the board in terms of the stock market. So if I just bring your attention over to this, you can see that the NASDAQ and the S&P and all the stock markets collectively, there's around 60 to 80% exposure, which means that there's a lot of money tied up into assets, which makes all the stocks in the stock market very overvalued. It's very difficult to want to buy an asset that is trading at its all-time high. Consolidation would be welcome, and you want to see assets across the board pull back, because we understand something about when price drops. It means that they are buying. To back that up, just go over to Bitcoin, and you can see that the bids and the offers coming into play on Bitcoin. This is the 8-hour time frame, which doesn't have that much volume, but if we zoom in, you can see that as volume comes into play on Bitcoin, we'll just flip down to the 1-hour time frame to make it easier. Look at this move to the downside from yesterday's move up. Typical behavior. Stop run to the upside. They came and sold their Bitcoin. Everyone was buying Bitcoin to the moon. And then, of course, retail ended up paying the price. The shorts got liquidated, and then they've been buying the Bitcoin as price has been going down. As you can see, we had a big purchase yesterday of around $21 million worth of Bitcoin when the original value was around 13.98 million. So when I see that, I say to myself, right, okay, someone is stepping in and buying more than what the original value was. That doesn't mean it was an individual player that was buying the Bitcoin. It could mean that there was an influx of investors coming in at this point and buying $21 million worth of Bitcoin. Now, $21 million worth of Bitcoin doesn't sound much, but in the grand scheme of things, when you are seeing a succession of bids, which means as price goes down, they are buying, you're naturally going to assume that there's going to be interest coming in from investors who want to scale in on Bitcoin at a cheaper rate. Here you can see we had 1 million as the initial amount, and they actually traded 11 million. So as we go even further down, you had here 1 million was the initial amount, and they ended up trading 7 million. So you can tell that this range is grabbing attention from Bitcoin investors. But the problem that we've got is they are selling too soon. Look at the rally to the upside that we experienced with Bitcoin. They cleared that range, and now they're restarting again. Now, going down into today's price action with Bitcoin, you can see ever so closely that we have got quite a few liquidation points over here at the 69,079 zone. But what's going to be moving the markets, in my opinion, going into today is the fact that they are all coming back from this bank holiday. So if we just quickly go over to the stock market and have a look at where we are with the NASDAQ and the S&P, you can see NASDAQ and S&P, they're trading sideways. There's no clear definitive direction. You've got the S&P is also trading sideways. There's nothing really big to get excited about. Not to assume that there isn't going to be any movement, but when we've got a stock market news announcements coming out this week, especially how the US data is going to impact where we go with the Federal Reserve and the interest rates, we're probably going to see some sideways price action throughout the week. We are going in towards a close of a monthly candle. Now that's going to be very important because institutional investors are going to be finalizing certain positions. They need to be meeting certain targets. Clients are going to want their money. They're going to want to see the returns. So at the end of the month, they usually get a little bit busy, but we've still got a few more days until the month actually ends, which will be on the 31st. Now, attention has to be drawn to what's going on in cryptocurrency. After half a decade, Mt. Gox initiates a 9.3 billion Bitcoin transfer. Now, the problem that we've got with this is this money that has been moved is effectively going to be returned back to creditors. As you go into it, it says that the defunct crypto exchange Mt. Gox transferred around 137 Bitcoin, roughly around 9 billion in the early Asian hours on Tuesday. Okay. Now it says here that Mt. Gox, which once handled most Bitcoin transactions globally, started in 2010, had a massive hack in 2011 where these two Russians had effectively stole the Bitcoin. Now, it goes on to say that they are going to release the Bitcoin to creditors. Now, isn't it ironic how Bitcoin is the price that it's at right now, and these investors who we don't know if they had Bitcoin at a very cheap price are more than likely going to want to try and sell this Bitcoin in case price actually drops on them and they're losing value. But remember, when Bitcoin goes down, it means they are buying. So always have that in your mind. You want people to be buying the Bitcoin. That's important because that will tell you how long they're buying in for support for Bitcoin. Because when you look at the chart itself, you can say to yourself, oh my God, Bitcoin is getting ready to break out and do whatever it's going to do. We go to the daily time frame and you can say, yeah, there's a huge bull flag that is being prepared right now and price is going to completely move to the upside. What we've got to pay attention to is the frequency of how often they are making attempts to the upside and not following through. As per se by the hybrid system, which is what you see in front of you right now. And if you are new to the hybrid system, make your way over to tradersreality.com. It's in the description of the video and check out the hybrid system. It's free to use, and this is what we make reference to in our videos every single day and the live streams. Now in front of you, I've got a particular points of interest in Bitcoin. And let me refer back to what I said about you're seeing movements to the upside, but not really following through. Here is a green vector candle that grabs my attention. It tells me that price has moved up, but it hasn't gone anywhere. And this is usually what I call the vector candle appearing, but not going anywhere. What do we mean by that? Well, look, this big push up to the upside got investors kind of pumped yesterday. Couldn't even clear this high, couldn't even get anywhere near the all-time high. Now, what I'm looking at is Bitcoin is flirting with the all-time highs, and it's going to be news announcements that is effectively going to move Bitcoin to clear the all-time high. Going back into the calendar, the only thing that would move Bitcoin to the upside is if the core price index comes in and shows, based on what the reading is coming out to what they're waiting for is a 0.2% reading. Any reading below 0.2%, the market will go mad for it and everything will just continue to move up. Why? Because it means that the Federal Reserve is getting proof that they are not increasing the prices of goods and services, which means that inflation can effectively be controlled, and that's going to then lead them to cutting the interest rates. And this is what investors are all waiting for. Now, more importantly, that we've got to pay attention to right now is what's going on with regards to meme coins. Now, meme coins, you're seeing it all over the place. They are making mad movements across the board. And what I do suggest to you all is if you're going to play the meme coins, have no conviction that the meme coin is going to continue forever. Dog with hat could be an exception. Pepe could be an exception. But as long as these exceptions keep on happening and arising, it's kind of making investors in crypto think, you know what, this could be the next Pepe, this could be the next dog with hat, this could be the next whatever it could be. Never be married to a trade because the divorce is bloody expensive. Just keep that in your minds, ladies and gentlemen. If you're making money in the meme coins, take it and run and start investing in assets like XRP, where you will never get any volatility and it will just trade sideways and you won't have to worry about any mad event that happens in the world because XRP will never depeg from the 50-cent zone. Just to put things into perspective, I did put a tweet out yesterday and I said that XRP is managing to break the 51 region and it's trading away from that point. We're kind of getting closer towards that range again. We're now down at 53 cents. I give up with this asset. Anyways, moving forward from that, just paying close attention to what's going on the Coinbase index. Now, the Coinbase index premium says that if investors are buying the Bitcoin, then we would naturally see a reading to the upside from this chart. But right now, what we're seeing is assets, well, not so much assets, but we're not really seeing the activity in Coinbase. It's going downwards, it's negative, but be mindful. Just look at this chart. I'll say this over and over again. Look at where you've had the biggest drop in Coinbase, where investors are not transacting on Coinbase to buy, okay? You want to focus on the times when this is negative and the green is going down and price is going down. You're not interested in it going up. Why? Because if it's going up, if price is going up and Coinbase Premium Index is moving up, it means retail is buying. We're not interested in retail. We want to know who's doing the buying behind the scenes, who would be buying when price drops, not when price rises. We only pay attention to retail when we want to sell our Bitcoin, but we want to pay attention to Bitcoin when it's dropping because that tells us who is buying. Now, I mentioned earlier about the meme coins, and of course, Pepe is just going absolutely crazy right now. Just looking at the chart of Pepe, I mean, come on, bruv. Like, what's going on there? If you ain't taking profits on Pepe right now, then, like I said, married to a trade can be a bit expensive, okay? Enjoy the profit. Right now, Bitcoin dominance chart itself is looking like it's going to finish negative for the month. And as long as this trend continues with Bitcoin dominance going down, we can assume that assets like Ethereum, assets like BNB are going to keep on moving up because we'll be going into altcoin season. Now, if we just quickly go into Matic from yesterday's video, it was quite a nice little move up by Matic yesterday. We kind of gave you a nice little heads up with Matic. And look at that, beautiful move to the upside. They came back into the vector candle recovery point. What is going on here? There we are in the New York session. And that was just understanding from yesterday's video. So if you haven't watched yesterday's video, please go and check that out. Okay? Now, listen, if you are trading, go check out BTCC. It's an old exchange. They've been around for around 12 years. And it's the only exchange that we are happy to introduce to everyone in the Traders Reality space. There's no KYC requirement for anyone in the US. Of course, when you start using fiat, that's a different story, but there's no KYC required to use BTCC. So go check out btcc.com. Everything is in the description of this video. And more importantly, if you haven't become a member already of Traders Reality, specifically a platinum member, you'll get 20% as being a new member. So you get 20% off your first month when you become a new member, and that effectively gives you access to masterclass sessions, more importantly, the trade setups that I provide every single day. From the last 6 months when we started, I've given out around 850 setups, and we are still pulling together the data to put the win rate up. So we're looking at around 85% win rate on those setups, but that all is on the website and we're slowly getting that all populated so that you guys can see it for yourselves. As we come to a close on this video, if you are new, be sure to like and subscribe, because I'm going to be doing these videos more often right now just to give you guys insight into what's going on. Now, the markets will be opening in just shy of an hour and a half's time. We will be getting the first return of the US traders. So it's going to be very interesting. So just let the market open and then, of course, anticipate your risk and don't get too brave with it. We do have the consumer sentiment data coming out at 3 p.m. GMT, which is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. So let that news data come out, as it will move the markets. Take care of yourselves, gang, and I'll be checking in with you all tomorrow. Peace.